able to be here with us. This morning, we have with us, and I'll try to get his name right, Nadeem Sahar. Is that close? Saber. I'm sorry. I knew I'd get close. He's with us. He is involved with the Pakistan work, and he will be talking about that during the class time, and then he will have our sermon. A friend of his is with him. I didn't get his name. I'm mad about that, but we're glad to have him with us too. We're just tickled that they're here, and he's got a lot of information for us, and we're certainly glad that he could be with us. Mason, would you lead us in prayer for me, please?
Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you for letting us gather here this morning to study your word. Lord, please let everything we say and do this morning be according to your will and pleasing to you. Lord, please let the information presented to us here this morning be a big benefit to us and help us to help more people. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, and I have my brother with me who's visiting from Canada, so I brought him with me to come and worship with us. I am very appreciative for you to invite me to come and speak to you all this morning about the work that we are involved in Pakistan. I live in Murfreesboro, a little bit out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I teach there in a high school also. I teach science. I teach all sciences. That's my specialty there. I teach anatomy and physiology. I teach chemistry. I teach biology and physics also. So that's what I do for living. But we are also involved to evangelize Pakistan. And most of you have heard about Pakistan. It's the country of the size of New Mexico and Texas, but it is jam-packed. There is 231 million people live there, and the country is financially is in trouble right now. There are a lot of good people there. We have 97% Muslims in that country. 3% minorities, and Christians are about 1.7% of 231 million. Member of the church. The Church of Christ there is started actually in 1952. It started in Lahore, Pakistan, but there were only 2 or 3 congregations until 1984. In 1984, you have probably known a guy who have visited you. His name was Charles Scott. Some of you folks that are up in the years, you probably have seen this gentleman. Brother Scott was barred to go to India. They stopped him at the airport in Bombay, which is now Bombay, but it used to be Bombay, and they were about to deport him back to US. And Brother Scott requested them. He said, "Why don't you let me go to some other country? Which other country I can go?" And they said, "Well, our neighboring country, Pakistan, you don't need a visa. You can just go there as a traveler, and they will give you 90 days on arrival." So he bought a ticket at the airport, and they had a flight in the evening, so he stayed at the airport, and then he flew to Pakistan. He realized that I don't know anybody in Pakistan. Brother Scott was a very brave missionary. I have not met anybody who would do this kind of daring things. He had met my father, who was a Presbyterian preacher, and he was a very prominent preacher in Pakistan that time. My father passed away in 2019. So he had an address. He met my father in Holland on Billy Graham's crusade years prior, but he had my dad's number. So he said, "Well, I'll go and visit this Presbyterian preacher." So he flew from Bombay to Karachi, and from Karachi, he took a train overnight, and he came to our town. He does not know anybody there. He came to the town, and my dad was a very prominent preacher at that time. He was very well known. He was like a televangelist. He was preaching for the biggest congregation, Presbyterian Church. So everybody knew my dad that time. So he came to the bus stop, train stop, and he asked that there is a man named B.M. Sauber. And they said, the taxi driver, he said, yeah, I know him. And he said, can you take me to his house? He said, sure. So he came to our house. I'm going to show you what the Presbyterian houses look like that time. He came and he knocked the door, and he was brought into the house. And then he studied with Brother Sauber, my father, and 19 other preachers for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, he baptized them into Church of Christ. And all 19 of them in 1984, they left the Presbyterian Church and they started to teach and preach New Testament Christianity. And that's how the church started. So right now we have close to about 10,000 Christians in Pakistan. We have I would say about 52, 53 congregations in the entire Pakistan. Small to big, and some are just few people meeting together. The biggest congregation we have is actually in Saiwal Church of Christ. This is the 4th congregation my father started from 1984 till 2019. He passed away. And this was the last congregation he died as an elder there. So in Saiwal Church of Christ, they have 148 members. There used to be about 200, but it has kind of dwindled a little bit, the population there. And then you have a Kot Lakhpat Church of Christ, which has 79. Then we have a congregation, Stunzabad Church of Christ, which has an 81 member. And then we have a bunch of others here and there. And there are about 15 congregations that are on the border towns of Pakistan, which is a border with India. So that work is also going very good. Many people think that Pakistan is just a desert or something. But I'm going to show you it's a very pretty country. We have all seasons, all 4 seasons. We have a lot of greenery. And I'm going to show you some of the things. This is the first thing you see when you go to Pakistan. This is the airport of Lahore. This is where you're going to land. And this is where you get your immigration done. And this is where you get your visa to enter into Pakistan. It's called Allama Iqbal Airport. And it's very nice. It was under construction that time. That's why you see that there is still some, things going on. But it's a very pretty now. I need to learn this thing, how to click. This is the interior waiting room where you go and you see that it's very clean, very neat. This is where you're going to wind up waiting for your flights, connecting flights and others. This is Emirates Airlines A300 taking off from one of the runway there. And I was actually on Qatar's flight when we took this picture. I was on Qatar Airline. I know that your preacher, Brother Cherry, he worked for the airline, so he is more familiar with them than probably you are. But this is Emirates. Emirates is Dubai's airline. I want you to focus this little bit. This is the first building we ever built in Pakistan. We raised $40,000 to build this building. This building and the preacher's home was built in $40,000, and we have decided that we will not have any overhead in Pakistan's ministry. Every penny you send is directly gone to invest in the land there. We do not have any overhead. I spend my own money. Brother Meyer is coming to speak to you on Sunday, next Sunday, and he spent his own money. We do not have any overhead in this ministry. We send 100% of your contribution to the work. This is the first church building we built. We raised $40,000. It's not very fancy because I'm going to show you some fancy buildings there as well. This is our church building there. First Church of Christ building that was had the classrooms and other things like that. This is the preacher's home. And if you see that, that's Brother Saber sitting there. This is in 2007. And he had a habit of getting the newspaper. Now we don't get those newspapers anymore, but he used to get a newspaper and he sit there and read and check up on what's going on. Brother Saber was also not only the religious leader, he was also their civic leader, because there's a lot of connections with the Muslims. You can't preach without the help of Muslims there, so you have to have. As a matter of fact, in 2013, Brother Saber was invited by Arlington Church of Christ in Memphis. It's a big congregation. And they put huge billboards outside. They rented the billboards and they advertised him. And he was not happy with them, because they advertised him as a Christian scholar who have done something in Pakistan, extraordinary. But Brother Saber says, I want to tell you one thing. I preach Jesus because of Muslims. Because every time I get into problem, who come and save me? It's his Muslim friends who come and rescue him. So he said, I preach Jesus not because of Christians. I preach Jesus because of Muslims. Because they're my friends. Every time I got into trouble, they come to rescue me. So he said, I'm not happy you put those billboards and it's insinuating that I am working against Muslims or something. No, I don't. I work with them, but I preach Jesus. Every time you tell Brother Saber, tell us about Islam, he's going to say, no, I don't know anything about Islam. I know Jesus, and I will tell you about him. So that's the way he was. He said, I don't come to preach Islam, I come to preach Christ. And you want to hear about Christ, I will tell you. You don't want to hear me, I'll leave. So that's the way he was. This is one of the Baptist church, very prominent Baptist church. It was built in the same time, but if you see that their building is quite fancier than ours, you know. They have all the brick buildings. And this is the house, actually I accidentally put it preacher's house, but it is actually one of the house near the Baptist church. And if you see, it's very fancy. Pakistan has a very fancy homes there, and it's built in the vicinity. It's not like just like that people are all terrorists and all those. There are a lot of good folks. This is the Catholic compound in Karachi. And if you see that, their driveway is built of granite, you know. So that's how some of the Catholics rich are. Here is the Catholic cathedral. It's called St. Patrick's Cathedral in Karachi. It's one of the architectural there. It's in some kind of World Heritage book. That's how pretty they are. So that's what the way they are. This is one of the Presbyterian church. Presbyterians have a very big church buildings too. They have also hospital. As a matter of fact, Brother Saber used to pretty much run the Presbyterian church in he was a moderator. I don't know if you know that 285 preachers were under him. The mission hospital, the Presbyterian hospital, 100-bed hospital was under him. Their nursing school was under him also. So there was a lot of activities when he left the Presbyterian church. And the church he was preaching, there was about 3,000 members when he left, the day he left it. So that's the way the churches are there. This is the missionary, the house, Presbyterian pastor house in Saiwal, and that's their building. Now, in 2019, we were on a trip to Pakistan. We had already raised a building money, and we wanted to open a school of preaching. But we didn't call it school of preaching, we call it Bible college, because we wanted to give a 4 years diploma to people who wanted to come and train there. So we decided that we will call it Saiwal Bible College, and that's where we will train our Pakistani preachers. We also, Brother Meyer will tell you that how further we have gone now. We have now Lahore School of Preaching, and we also have a Karachi School of Preaching. We call them School of Biblical Studies in Pakistan, because that's how you register them with Pakistani people, with Pakistani government. So now we have 3 institutions running. We also have an academy that Brother Meyer will talk about that, where we have Christian students who are refused admissions in another schools, but they will come there. We have 80 students from 6th through 10th grade. Pakistan don't have 11th and 12th grade. We are under British system, and British system goes from K through 10. So we don't have a K through 10th school, we have a 6th through 10th school. So we have a middle class and high school. We have 80 students there. So Brother Meyer will show you some pictures of that how we have prospered through the years. But in 2009 when we were there, Brother Meyer and I, so we were opening this Bible college. And I think we had 6 students, I believe, and we started this first class. That was a dream of the preachers, of Pakistani preachers. And we were there for 17 days, and we held about 15 meetings and baptized 61 people there also during that meeting. In Pakistan, it's a system. When you have a gospel meeting, it's still like old time, like we used to have here. You have a tent meeting and you invite everybody Whoever wanted to come, they can come and hear. But you got to have a security. Pakistan is not just like that. You pitch a tent and just start preaching and then people are going to start coming. No, you got to have a security. You got to have a permission. And then you pitch in your tent and you start preaching and the government will supply you security. Brother Saber's congregation, that the church building I showed you, on Sunday, you have 2 people that are guarding 2 gates of that. One has a Kalashnikov, which is a Russian automatic weapon that can fire up to 84 bullets, and the other one has an AK-47. So they both guard on both sides, and they both check everybody who comes in and who don't go, because you never know, somebody walk in and they will bomb the place or they will kill multitude there, So this is the first set of students. We had a meeting that day. We invited all the preachers and we asked them to come and eat with us. And these are the first set of students we have there in 2009. And they are all graduate now. They are all preaching. And we asked them to distribute the foods to all those that come in. This is our preacher's lunch. Our buildings are used. We have a concrete floor buildings, mostly in Pakistan, and we use inside also the building because we don't have much, government don't allow, the new law since 1986, they don't allow you to build huge buildings and they have just put a lot of restrictions. So we have a building that is used 24/7. Whatever the programs are, this building is not empty. It is used. People come. So when we have a function like that, we cook the food there, we distribute the food there, we feed people there, they stand, they sit, they eat inside, and that's the way it is. Here some of them are sitting. We had that day about 56 people. There were some elders, some deacons, and some preachers with us, eating inside the church building with us. Here is another picture of them. And they are all just gathered together and they rejoice with us. Whatever we provided them rice, we provided them bread, we provided them salad that day. We had some chutneys. I don't know if you're familiar with the chutneys. So we had different mixed chutneys. So all of them came and eat with us. We had some visitors also. We had some baptisms that day. This is Naim, who's baptizing women. Women over there, they usually cover their head. You have seen them. They wear hijabs, they wear scarves, they cover their head. And Christian women do that too. So this is the way they are. Even though she's baptized, she's still covered. She has covered her head because that's what the traditional things are there. Here is another gentleman being baptized. Another lady being baptized. That day I did not put a lot of pictures because this is Saiwal Bible College. This is their shield. And this is what we started the work in 2009. This was a dream come true of a lot of preachers because we did not have any preaching school where we can train most of our preachers were trained at denominational school. And Brother Meyer is going to show you in 2019, we started actually Lads to the Leaders, our Leaders to the Lad program. I don't know, Brother Don will tell you more about that. Where we have a first generation member of the church now being worshiping there and converted and taught and preached. So now we have a different breed coming on. In our era, when we were there, we were all coming from denominations. So we all came from denominations. I was in a Presbyterian seminary. We all came from there. We left and we came and teach and preach Jesus. We did not learn from the basic teaching of the Churches of Christ, but now we have schools that are starting from the teaching of the Churches of Christ. So you're going to have a very grounded, very sounded people coming in as a being Christian. Or this is our first batch. We had 7 students, and the guy, Brother Paul, he was not a student, but he used to come and sit in the classes. This is their traditional garb. The older gentleman that is in the middle, that is Pakistan's traditional clothes. Those guys, the young guys, they can wear pants and shirts. And this is their kind of like a college fatigue they are wearing. And that day we took a picture of them. There was another student on the right, on my right, probably your right too as well. He was also came and included in the school after that. I am teaching there. I taught there also. I took some of the classes. I taught the Hebrew in 3 days. Hebrews I covered in 3 days. But I want to show you one thing. I don't know if you can see it. But if you see my shoulders look like wet. Did they look like wet to you from here? There was 114 degree temperature in there where I was teaching. And I'm not a small guy. I'm a big guy. So I was sweating profusely. Profusely. But those guys, they were okay. Because we had a fan. It's not that we didn't have the fan. We had the fan. But the power went out. So we didn't have the power. And I'm so used to now, air condition. My body was getting acclimated with that weather back. And I was just sweating. And they said, "Sir, you're sweating too bad." I said, "No problem. I'll lose some weight, So this is the same class. And all the students were sitting in the front, and some are sitting in the front chairs. This is our first student, and with the 2 faculty member. This is Brother Saber on the. If you see that on the. I don't know if this one. This is Brother Saber. He is the one that converted in 1984. He passed away in 2019 out of kidney failure, and he was an elder for the Saiwal Church of Christ. This is Brother Yunus. I don't know if you're familiar with this name. Brother Yunus was also a very, very good preacher, and Brother Yunus died also. We believe that Muslim killed him, but they made it look like an accident because there were 9 people standing on the road, and they were all standing there, and a car came and just hit him only, nobody else. So we believe that it was staged death. So it hit him, it knocked him off, he fell, it raised him about 13, 14, 15, it was too fast. In the air, when he came down, he hit his head and his head was busted. And by the time he reached the hospital, he was dead. Brother Yunus was also a very prominent preacher in Lahore area, but he kind of lost his life because of that. It was made look like accident, but we always believed that it was not an accident. It was a staged death, staged accident. We have another preacher years ago. He was killed like that too. He was standing on the road waiting for the bus, and a rickshaw is 3-wheelers. He came and he hit him and just knocked him into the pillar of electric pole, knocked him there and killed him. So, but that was an accident too. So most of those deaths are accident. I was talking to my brother. I just got a message this morning, just this morning. Pakistan is 12 hours ahead than us. So Sunday was about 12 hours to go there in Pakistan. And they just came, and one of the 15 years old, he had stopped somebody from throwing some things in the church building, and they just got the gun and shot him and killed him on the spot and gone. And they're going to be hero, and they're going to say, "We killed this guy." It may be there will be case registered, but in few months they will be all gone out. So that's how the Christianity survived in those countries. That's how the Christian lived. The persecution is imminent. Brother Meyer will show you some pictures. I have a presentation here. Just last year, there is a town called Jaranwala. It's about 100,000 people lives in there. Christians I would say about 200, 300. They came, they burned each and every house of Christian. Thank you, Jesus, nobody was killed. Instead of police protecting them, police came and told them that you need to leave because the Muslim mob is coming and they're going to burn your property. This is how it works. So they kind of told them, "This guys leave." So those women, those children, those men, they just gathered together whatever they can and they just left. And Muslim came behind them and just burned the whole strip of Christians' homes. They burned the church buildings. So nothing had happened since then. There was a case registered against 200 people. What are you going to do when you arrest 200 people? You don't have any nominated criminal that you're going to prosecute. All of them are going out every 2 weeks through. Bail. Bailed. So that's the way they are. Brother Chuck have told me that I have to give you all a little time to ask me questions. Feel free to ask me questions. I will be happy to answer. If I don't have the answer, I will find it for you. But the work is great. It's a slow. It's not like India. India is a secular state. Pakistan is an Islamic state. They have Islamic laws, and minorities are very little there comparing to India. India has a huge population of Christian. So Pakistan just have a very little population of Christians and other minorities as well. But the work is going. It's growing slow. We started with the 1952. There was only 57 or 58 members in 3 congregations. Today we have a 10,000. So there is a growth, right? It took us maybe 30, 40 years to reach there, but there is. We have 3 schools that are training preachers. We have an academy that is training young men and women. We have a Lads to the Leaders program where we have a 20 congregation actively teaching and preaching young minds, which is we call Sunday school. So that's what is the ministry is going now. So the growth is there, but it is slow. You will hear the report about India that the people are converting left and right. Pakistan is not like that. Pakistan, you have to be careful. You have to be very concerned around your surrounding. That's why when we go, I'm going to tell you one thing. In 2009, Brother Meyer is a very white guy. You have a white and then you have a very, very white. So he is very, very white. So I told him, I said, Brother Meyer, you got to go ahead and get some tan. Yeah. So he said, okay, we can. Well, he's my brother, he listens. So he went to the tanning booth, and ladies, you all know that they spray tan, So they spray tan him, and he started to look like, he doesn't look like American anymore. He looked like a dirty Italian or something, Yeah. So he came, and I said, you look good. He said, oh, that's good then. So we went to Pakistan. In Dubai, we are sitting, at that time, fundamentalism was at peak. In Pakistan, they have their people everywhere on the different airports. So the guy is coming and they're looking at him. They're trying to figure it out. Where is he from? So then finally I asked them, I said, what do you all wanted? They said, where is this guy from? I said, he's from Italy. And they said, oh, okay. Because they did not like Americans, so that much. So they said, okay, that's good. And then he came home. It was hot. I told you 114 degrees. And John, Brother Meyer, sit outside, and the temperature was very high. He was huffing and puffing, So he sat outside and he started to sweat. He's a big guy too. He started to sweat profusely too, and his tan started to wear out. Yeah. So my younger sister, he came running, and she said, "Brother," I said, "Yeah." He said, "Your brother." Brother Meyer has a jaundice. I said, no, he doesn't have jaundice. I brought him fine with me. She said, no, look at him. He looked more orangey, and then he had a stripes on him, because the tan wear out. Wherever he sweats, the tan goes out. So it's like that. You have to sometimes do that in order to be safeguarding yourself, So that's some of the ways we do that. And but he is a fine gentleman. He has done a lot of work there too as well. But Brother Scott was the one that brought us here today. I am here with you because of Brother Scott, because he baptized me too. And when I came to U.S., I was already married, so I have a wife, and she is not American. So I was able to start life here. We do not want to go back. We wanted to establish ourselves here, and but we also continue to teach and preach for the church. Feel free to ask me any question you all have, and I will try to answer it. Yes, sir?
With Afghanistan bordering Pakistan, does the Muslim faction of Taliban try to affect Pakistan a whole lot?
Absolutely. Well, there is more Taliban in Pakistan than in Afghanistan. Yes. Afghanistan's population is 19 million. Pakistan's population is 231 million. So you can imagine how many Talibans of Pakistan are. But Pakistani government is very strong too. The only problem is the government protects you, the army protects you. But the problem is by the time they reach to you, the local Taliban already got you. You see what I'm saying? So that's the way the justice is there. Because by the time police are going to come to save you, you're already done. They're already done with you. So they're done with your property. You know, so that's the way it is. Yes, sir. They're fighting you. Yes, sir.
Would the percentage be about 90% Muslim?
97%.
97%?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And another little brief question. You said it was bordered by India and who else?
We border with Afghanistan.
Pakistan is bordered by India and anybody else?
Afghanistan also.
Afghanistan.
Yes. We also border with Iran. Iran also. We border with Iran, but very small border. About 1,100 kilometers.
Well, on the screen, it kind of looked like it was maybe bordered by maybe some sea. I don't know. Is
We
it?
have Arabian Sea. We have about the coast of 3,000 kilometers that touches the Arabian Sea also. So we are not close to Saudi Arabia, but by ship you can get to Saudi Arabia overnight. But by flight it's about 6 hours. So
Well, it's also a relatively cold climate too. It's seasonal climate.
absolutely, we have
There's
four.
snow there. It's elevation, sea level is way up there.
Absolutely, we have 4 seasons, and December to February, like here, is very cold. And on the mountainous area, which is the upper Hindu Kush mountain, which touches China.
Yeah.
It's just very little border we touch with China. It's always covered with snow. You know. And by the way, we have the second tallest mountain in the world. Mount Everest is in Nepal, but K2 is in Pakistan. So I don't know, when you go back, check your computer, K2, it will tell you. It's called K2, and that is in Pakistan. That's the second highest mountain. But it's more dangerous than Mount Everest. That's why you don't hear the K2's name much. Not many people climb that, because the wind chill over there is almost 1,100 degrees below what you're gonna experience in Mount Everest.
Some of us would relate to Nepal more than some of the places.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's
Nepal is the Everest is in Nepal. K2 comes in Pakistan. When I say, I don't know if I said that, Hindu Kush mountain. This is the whole region. Like we say Cumberland Plateau. That's what I'm saying. Hindu Kush range. Hindu Kush range run like this, and it go all the way to Everest and down there. Any other question?
The
Yes.
Muslim factions, like you border part of Iran and the Taliban, that's two different types of Muslim factions. How many different types of Muslim factions do you have, and which one is the worst for persecuting the Church of Christ?
When we say church, I'm talking about church in general. That includes everybody, Presbyterians. Because Muslims don't distinction between us as a Church of Christ or other. They consider us all Christian. So persecution comes collectively overall. Presbyterian Church is very strong. Catholic Church is very strong. Muslims, there are very active groups, their denominations we can call. It's Sunni, number one, they're in majority. Then you have a Shiites, which are close to the border of Iran, because Iran is Shiite. Iran's 97% are Shiite, so that's Iran's population there. Then you have also Wahhabis, which is their prophet was. He was a Wahhabi. So he was a different denomination. But when it's come to persecuting and anybody and everybody, they're all together. Then there is no distinction between them. Are you with me? Like we all Christians stand together. We don't say we are standing as a Church of Christ. We say we stand as a Christian. When Christians stand, they stand as a Christian. There is a lot of cooperation among Churches of Christ and denominations, because we are all minority and we all suffer. And same way they are too. When it comes to protecting the honor of their prophet, they're all together. So there is no distinction between them. So they're all together. And we grew up most of our friends, they're Muslims. They're a lot of good people. As long as you do not talk about their religious faith, about their prophet, they don't bother you. And that's why I told you, Brother Sabra always said, he said, you invited the wrong guy to talk about Islam. I don't talk about Islam. I talk about Christ. And I can only teach you about Christ. I can only preach you Christ. And that's all I know. He never talked about Islam. Even though we have studied that. And, but we talk about Christianity. We are teaching and preaching Jesus. And that's all we're going to do. So, you want to learn something about their religion? Go call their Islamic scholar. They can come and teach you. Talk to us about Jesus. We'll tell you about Jesus. So, that's the way we are. Any other question? We still got about 5 minutes. And I'm happy to answer your questions. Yes, sir?
What's the common language in Pakistan?
Common language is Urdu. Urdu is a mixture language. It's a mixed language of, you have English in there too. Like, for example, you ask me television. I know it's a television. I don't have any Urdu word for that. So, there's a lot of English words in there. There's a lot of French words in there. There's a lot of Arabic in there as well. And a lot of Hindi, because Pakistan separated from India in 1947. So there is a lot of Hindi involved in Urdu language. But Urdu is a very common language. The school we started is an Urdu speaking school. There are 1.6 billion Urdu speaking people in the world. And that's where your preacher is also involved with us. We started I don't know if Brother Cherry ever mentioned that. We started an internet ministry now. We have a school of preaching online and we hold classes on Zoom. We are reaching to the places where nobody can reach. We are there now. Our preachers, they take one laptop and they hold the school there. And here is Brother Cherry. I think Brother Cherry just started 1 Corinthians. And he preached and I interpret for him. Then we have Brother Meyer, who is teaching Romans. And we meet 4 times a month. So every week we have a class.
When you write it down, is it from right to left?
Yes, we do this way, yes. Yeah. I translate, they send me their material. And like Brother Cherry sent me his material week before last, so I translated it already. And I send him a copy, and then I send the copy to students. And they have in their folders. So when he comes on, they're able to relate to him where he is. We have 6 students that we have right now, and we are planning to open another branch with the 10 students. So we are not making them preachers. If they become preachers, that's wonderful. But if they just wanted to be good Christians, they can still come and learn. So we have some people that come and sit in the classes. They just wanted to learn the truth about the Bible and about the church. And Brother Cherry will have his class week after next because his schedule is kind of weird. That's the word I'm going to use. Yeah. He's in and out and on different days. So whenever he has a time, so I schedule him in. I create the schedules. And by the way, there is no overhead in that ministry too. Whatever the support come in, we invest it in the students. And that's what we do. Because our students, they come on the buses. They come, they leave their work, they come there. But Maya will tell you how we are managing it. That's why I didn't touch base on that. So our students, we help them in transportation. So they don't, because they leave their work, they have small families. So we help them to be paid for the transportation. So if they're driving those scooties, little scooters they have, those Vespa looking things, so we provide them fuel money so they can come and continue to. So the school is not burdened at that. That's what we're trying to do. And Brother Meyer will introduce you all to that work, and he will show you all how we carrying on with that. Our hope is that in the next 15 years, we have at least 100 graduates out of that program, going everywhere, teaching and preaching, telling people what the truth is. So that's what our goal is. And we wanted to do that in India. We're already in contact with a preacher in India. And we're going to open a branch there. Because with the Zoom, they can all just log in from different places. And we can accommodate 150 students at a time. So they can log in from India. They can run the 7 Zoom meeting. They can log in from Nepal, from the same Zoom meeting. Our only problem is that we teach in the night time. Because of the time difference. And most of the time, we wind up teaching until 2 a.m. So we start at 11 and we go until 2. So we teach. Most of us sleep during the afternoon, so we are awake and up. Brother Meyer does that, Brother Jerry does that, and Brother Barry does that. He's out of New England, so they all sleep during the day on their class, and so they can teach in the night. And that's how we are operating.
What about the Bible? How much is it?
As a matter of fact, I really wanted to present a need. We are planning to buy at least 50 Bibles, and I am traveling this month this month, and we're going to raise the money. But I did not ask you all because Brother Meyer is going to present a need, and I thought I don't want to bother you twice. That hey, these preachers just come to raise money only. I just said that I will just go and tell you about the word, and I will let him handle it. But Bible is there is only one society. It's called Pakistan Bible Society. They are the only one can print Bibles. Nobody else can print it because you have to have permission from the government, and they are the only one has the permission. And it's very good. Their translations are very good. So we usually order the Bible from them, and then we pick up, and then we take it wherever we go to distribute. So
What does one Bible cost?
one Bible costs about, I would say about $21, $22. Yeah. So we are planning to purchase about at least 400 Bibles, so we can take it around. We also wanted to give it to our students, and those Bibles are a little bit expensive because I believe a preacher should have a very good Bible. He don't need to flipping the pages like my Bible. I wish I had a lot of. I don't know if you're gonna see that. This is my Bible. Yeah, I had it decorated. It's been around me. So I have decorated it. I don't want to buy. We don't want to give them this Bible because the students, by the time you ask them, turn to Romans chapter 3, they keep on flipping and going. And so we wanted to buy about 10 Bibles, and they are expensive, and we wanted to give it to our students. So all those students will buy 10 Bibles that are expensive, and they cost about $32, $33. And they will have a reference guide there. They will have those tabs fancy tabs you have that you can flip it and be there. So that's what we want to do. But Brother Meyer will tell you all, and he will show you some pictures also. I think my time is up. If there is no other question, I'll let you all mingle with each other. Thank you for your time.